Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Pre-Market Info.
Jam-packed show here today. Tons of upgrades and downgrades on major S&P components. We've also got the health insurers with some major news, and they are flying here this morning. But let's start with the overall market because it is flying as well.
Congratulations to Kevin out there who got me on my bet. 1565 got it to the tick. So I hope his buy stop in the S&Ps got executed at that level. That's the only level we have on the upside. We take out 1565 today. I think we're going to go to 1600. And being a little sarcastic there. Coming back on the downside, I'm looking. We've got a long ways to go back down to the close, 1556. But that's our support.
Can't keep a good market down. That's just the story here this morning, and everything kind of moving up here again. But nothing is moving up more than the health insurers here, Joel. They are flying. Humana flying the most out of all of them. 3.3% increase in Medicare Advantage, and that is why, if you look actually from yesterday's chart, let's bring up that Humana. It was flying before the news was released. I guess everybody either had the news or were speculating what the news was going to be, but it had a huge move late in the day yesterday. You can see right before the close, actually, about 20 minutes before the close, flying from 70 to 75. Closes at 75.02, continues to fly after hours after they released that news right around 4:30, so about a half an hour after the close, and the stock is now up at $82, pulled back a bit. 81.55 is where it's at right now. Wow.
Well. I think one thing that's catching people here is some people were expecting a decrease in Medicare rates, which would be negative for the insurers. So you had people.
Well, they were talking about that last year, and then I think they were saying, oh, they're flat. And then they were saying, so I think they knew there was going to be some type of increase. But you're right. You're exactly right. Sentiment's totally turned here, obviously, and these things are just getting bought like crazy here this morning.
Right, and you're topping out here. You did get a spike high over that 80. I'm not even going to count this level here when it got up over 83 here to 83.75. But look at this consolidation here around the $82 level. I'd just keep an eye on that. Obviously, someone has a little bit of a piece here after a $10 move. They're identifying $82 as an exit point. We'll keep an eye on that. Taking a look at the daily chart on Humana.
Bingo.
Well, what do you know? What's this number, Dennis? You want to take a guess?
81.87.
You are brilliant.
Brilliant.
Okay. So that is the only number I have there, folks. Keep an eye on the $82 level.
UNH, very exposed to this as well. Your two most exposed stocks, definitely Humana and UNH. And UNH is up as well. 61.13 right now after closing at 58.97. Same story, not to the extreme move as Humana, but definitely getting a big move. Same thing too, same story. The huge spikes up and now the consolidation here, basically for the majority of the after hours and the entire pre-market session around this 61.20 area.
Yeah, we are getting some consolidation. 61.45 is where people are picking this as an exit point. I mean, hey, you were just at 57.50, so here you are up another couple bucks. Looking at the daily on UNH, see if we can find some resistance in that stock. There, it hasn't been up quite this way in a while. Should we go to the weeklies? The weeklies, we can find something, but we're already above that. We're already above the 60.75 level. So for the traders that are looking to exit or possibly short this stock, 61.50 is a level to focus on.
Some of the smaller ones, they aren't moving quite as much here yet, but they're thinner. Some of them not quite as exposed, but we might as well mention a bunch of them here. I'll just fly through them. Aetna, AET, it's trading up $1.62 right now at $54. We've got CI, which actually hasn't hardly traded at all, but so not quite exposed as much, but it is bid higher here. Well, it's been up as well. That's a little bit ridiculous at 65, but it's around 63.94. Offered at 63.61 right now, though. So these aren't going to be up quite as much as the other ones, but they're probably going to have some strength. CVH here as well as another one, Coventry Healthcare. It is just slightly bid up here, but hasn't really had a huge move. I'm just flying through them. WCG, which is WellCare Health Plans. That's another one. You've also got Molina Healthcare, which is MOH. That's up about 75 cents here. So all of these stocks here could be a little bit stronger here. Another one would be CNC. But they actually had an offering, I believe, yesterday too, if I'm not mistaken. So there was something else there on CNC. So you got to be careful on that one. They just filed for an equity shelf offering of up to 15.3 million common shares through Morgan Stanley. So CNC would normally probably be up on this news, but because they're obviously filing to a secondary there, the stock may not be as strong as some of the other ones.
Are you looking to play these at all today, or is it just too much news on them, or are they, I mean, when there's this much news on things, I mean, you got to be tempted, to take a look at a few of these things on the short side, aren't you?
I'm not really that much of a contrarian though in my day trading. When you look, you can look at some of these stocks, and it's hard to pick tops. If I have a point, sometimes I'll try it, but a lot of times these things just continue. Now, Humana is a different story. When the thing's up $7, seems a little bit overdone, but a lot of these only up 50 cents or $1. So it's really hard to say. I mean, some are more exposed to it than others, obviously. So you can't say, oh, because Humana's up $7, well, some of these other ones should go up $6, $7 too. It's just not the case. Humana's going to lead the way. They're the most exposed. UNH is probably the second most exposed, and then all the other ones. It's good for them, but definitely not as good as it is for Humana. So.
Volume 2, Dennis, 60,000 shares. I mean, to have this thing up another $7. I mean, there's got to be some stock in the book here to at least, to take some people out. But see where it opens. Keep an eye on this $82 level, and good luck if you're trading it.
But you got to look at the market you're into, and it's been a market of follow-through moves. I mean, it all depends, and this is how, I'm not saying on this one's going to happen, but overall, it's been a market of follow-through moves, just like with our bet that we had yesterday. What was that stock yesterday that I beat you on? It was Tesla, TSLA. It's all about follow-through moves in this market, and it seems like, Tesla seemed ridiculous to be up at 42, 43, but, I was bullish. I won that bet very quickly. And you took 45. You wanted 40. I took 45. You're still trying to fight this tape.
No, I said 42.50. I didn't. It was at. Well, no, you're right.
No, you're right. It was at 42.50. You took 40. I took 45. It was at 45 like a half an hour into the trading session. So it's just and that's what I've got to say to you guys, because everybody likes to fight the tape and they say, oh, stock's up $6. It's going to come back down. It's not the market we're in right now. We're in the market of follow-through moves, where something is strong as stay strong for a while. Just like eBay, even bring up the chart of eBay. If you've been trying to fade that move for the last 3-4 days, analysts are kicking the crap out of you because it gets upgraded every day. It gets upgraded again today here at Topeka Capital. So here's eBay basically up 1, 2, 3, in 3 trading sessions. It's up $4.50 here, and you're saying, you're fighting the tape the whole way. Now you're up here, and now you have a reference point. Finally on eBay, because it's all there, you have a reference point here now in the low 57s, where it's topped out 3, 4, 5 times in the past. So we're only 70 cents or 80 cents away from that area right now. If you want to try a short, that's the area you got to look at on it. But I'm just saying, if it breaks out through there, then you got to lay off too, because it is the market of follow-through moves.
I didn't know they traded stocks in Montana.
In Montana, I missed that joke.
Or Kansas, that's right. I was wrong on that one. I was thinking to scratch that one for the record.
There you go.
Yep.
We'll get to the upgrades and downgrades in a second, but NUAN, we've got Icon wreaking havoc on another stock here again.
Oh,
yeah, you know how he is. He's just acquired a 9.7% stake in Nuance Communications. I think that's how you say it. Stock is up 20. It's at 21.82 right now in the pre-market, up 8% here on the Icon disclosure. I mean, this guy buys and the entire market buys. It must be nice, Joel, to be able to go accumulate a 9.7% stake at prices, then disclose it, and the stock automatically jumps 8 or 10% in your favor, and you know it's going to jump because you disclosed your position. It must be nice to have that kind of power. It's hard to lose. It's hard to lose.
You know what? If we did that, the stock would be down 10%.
Oh yeah, Joel and Dennis own it. Sell that thing. But yeah, that's just that's got to be really nice to have that kind of influence. It's really hard to lose, obviously, when you can accumulate a position.
It's just not to digress a whole too much, which I do, but I don't know if he's so right on this one.
It's been just kind of hanging out. What consolidation, Herbalife? It's been on quite a few shows since we've talked about it. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11 days of consolidation here between like 36 and $39,
yep,
which has been very tight considering the volatility that this thing had before. This stock is geared gearing up for a move, obviously going to go one way or another, probably on whatever fundamental news comes out. I don't know what to say there. I mean, that's kind of a coin flip chart right there. That's one of those you call coin flip.
Yeah, I mean, it's really 38 looks like the level to keep on in if you're trading Herbalife.
Let's get to the upgrades and downgrades because there's some big ones. Actually, Apple here is being removed from the Goldman Sachs conviction buy list. It's still on their buy list, but been getting removed from the conviction buy list, lowering the price target from 600 to 575. They're citing that it might be difficult for Apple to meet their March and June street expectations. Obviously, Apple had a terrible day yesterday. It needed to hold 440. We mentioned that. It did not hold 440, and obviously the stock was down significantly, down 11, 12 bucks. So now, obviously, the next major number is that support down there, 419 from March the 4th.
Yeah, I mean, I got to admit, I mean, sometimes the best trade is no trade. I was looking at this thing yesterday, and I talked to you before the show, and I really thought that 440, 445 level, that 50% retracement, was going to at least provide a little bit of support in the stock. And so I'm looking at it, and I'm like, looking at the 445 calls. No, I'm looking at the 440s. No, I'm looking at the 435s. Now I'm looking at the 430s. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just sometimes the best trade is a no trade. You are coming into this level of support. You're 10 points off the low of the move. So far, the market is shrugging off the Goldman Sachs downgrade. So if you're trading this from, if you got caught on the long side, you did get a pop just under the $432 level. 431.76 has been the high in the pre-market. Being a couple bucks away from there, I'd keep an eye on that level.
Yeah, like I have to admit too, I thought the 442 area might hold because we had the huge sell-off on. I thought it was window undressing, and maybe it would get a bounce back day. It did not get that bounce back day. As soon as it cut through 440, though, you had to be thinking about the exits because obviously that play just did not work. And that's the whole thing with trading. You can make calls and you can be wrong. You got to realize when you're wrong and realize quickly to limit those losses. And that's the main thing with trading. Always have your out, know where your out is. Remember that quote from Rounders? Always have outs. Well, that's what you need here too. You need to have outs in trading. You need to know, okay, well, if the stock does this, so I'm buying the stock, but if it does this, I'm gonna get out. That's the main thing, and that's how you stay in the game. So
let's look for a double bottom or triple bottom here in this area for the as they would say on CNBC, halftime lunch money or whatever. They called it back up here. They called it a generational buy. So. Maybe we can wait for that.
I don't know about generational
buys. We'll go for like a 2 or 3 day buy here on pre-market info, but
I'm not even going. I'm laying off the Apple calls here. I was good in the beginning of the year with this, but I've been wrong here on this last move here, and I'm laying off of my calls here. I don't know what to say about this one. It's just unbelievably. Like we said, when stocks are out of favor, they're out of favor for a long time. This one just cannot get back in favor. And in the market, the street just doesn't like it. The street doesn't like it right now. They want to have their LinkedIns. They want to have their Netflix. Yeah, you bring up Netflix. You knew I was going to go there. They want to have their Netflixes, and they don't want to have their Apples. So I mean, the Netflix, there's a huge level for you too. Obviously.
Look at that.
Yeah, lots of consolidation there. You got to watch that level. It's huge. That whole 175 to 180 level needs to hold here for Netflix too. But I mean, from a fundamental perspective, doesn't make any sense, not to me. But it doesn't matter. We're in the market of sustained moves, and when something is strong, it's strong for a while. When something is weak, it's weak for a while, and it takes a long time for that pendulum to swing. Let's
180 is huge. Keep an eye on that, folks. If you're playing this long term, under that 180 level, I know you see these lows here, 175, but psychologically 180 should be a big level over the next couple days.
Goldman Sachs getting downgraded at Bank of America here today. It's had 5-6 days of consolidation here. That low, 144.68, I think it is, back on the 25th of March. That's the low of the move. If it takes that out, I'd look out below because there's not a heck of a lot down there. But you've had 4 or 5 days, and support is support until it is broken. So I guess you still got to sit around support.
It's hanging out down here, and that's not a good sign.
No.
I mean, the last few days that it hit the 145 level, it bounced. It was able to settle, quite a few points above it. That wasn't the case yesterday. Yesterday's low was 144.60. You have that low going back a few days at 144.68. So I really wouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater unless this thing closed below the 144.60 level, because it's still holding the support here. But that'd be definitely a good level to trade off intraday.
Morgan Stanley getting downgraded at Credit Suisse too. They're citing valuation there, and this stock has been hanging on that cliff. Obviously, yesterday had the down move into that area. Now we're in that whole gap area, Joel, and it's not looking that great from a technical perspective.
Yeah, I mean, a couple downgrades. I mean, that's all it takes. It kept, hanging there for the people that were, focusing on that $22 level that got a short off. Good for you. 22.13 was yesterday's high. Offers will probably be lining up at the $22 level. You got a ways to go to fill the gap here down to 20.75, but it's working that way in its area. So be careful if you're trying to pick a bottom here in Morgan Stanley.
Hewlett Packard getting the beats this morning. Finally, that stock getting the beats. It seems like every day that thing goes up, but I don't understand that one whatsoever from a fundamental perspective either. Goldman Sachs doesn't understand it from a fundamental perspective because they are downgrading it to sell today with a price target of 16. They believe that earnings expectations will move lower and earnings power will be muted. So here they are downgrading it to sell, making a call after the stock makes a new high on the move yesterday. Goldman Sachs has none of it, and they are downgrading it. It is down $1 here on 735,000 shares, so a big down move here for Hewlett Packard.
We always beat up the analysts because after the stocks move 8-9 points, they upgrade it, and then then it falls eventually. But here, you got to respect this.
Yep.
I mean, the stocks had a big move.
Yep.
I don't know how much the fundamentals have changed. They make their call. I think I will keep an eye on this one. From a technical perspective, you hit 22.21 in the pre-market. You got a little bounce here. People are choking on their stock here at 22.68 to 70. That's 30-40 cents away. So if you're playing it out of the gate, that should be your first resistance point. Almost 800,000 shares have traded. So it does trade a lot. Looking at going to look at the 5-day low, we are crashing through that. You really got to. I don't want to say this $21 level. That's getting a little bit crazy.
Well, there's that little double bottom there, though, Joel. 22.27, 22.32
okay,
from the 21st and 22nd. So,
okay.
And it's funny that it's finding some support in that area there. So I think that's going to be your first area of support. Cracks through there. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, nice round number like 22 or whatever. It also could be. But no, you're right, Dennis. Good point there. 22, 27, 32. Underneath that, you're looking at 21.74. Or Dennis is looking for 17 to fill the gap.
I know. This stock here, I'm not a fan of it at all. I won't be on the buy side on that one. Best Buy here, just to talk about it as well, because it often does move with Hewlett Packard here. So just keep an eye on this today.
Figure that one out?
It's just they just move together. Like obviously the big move up and the big move down. Well, they've Hewlett Packard, Best Buy sells Hewlett Packard products. But regardless, just looking at the chart here, it's kind of sitting on a cliff too here. It's actually been a little relatively weak to the Hewlett Packard here for the last 3-4 days. It's kind of been leading the charge back down here after making a high just a week ago, 23.46. It's down to 21.68. It is up 12 cents this morning here, but I'm looking at this one thinking that if this thing lifts up here, might be an opportunity to try it from the short side maybe.
Yeah, you're also, after making that 23.46 high back on the 25th, you have responded with 4 lower highs, which is not a good sign. Taking out this low here from yesterday at 21.64. You got a little air in this thing down to 21.22, so that 40-cent level, but still using the 21.64 as support. And then you got another bottom at 20.92. We'll call it 21. So there's a few levels in Best Buy to take a look at today.
Here's another one. ExxonMobil getting downgraded. Oppenheimer here, and it's down 13 cents. It's funny. The market's up here 6-7 points, but you got some big components that are getting downgrades and big components that are trading down here. And ExxonMobil, one of the biggest here, getting downgraded. 91 level, absolutely enormous for this stock. Got up there, kissed it yesterday, basically with a double top. 90.98, 90.98 and a half, or 90. So basically a complete double top, 90.98 there yesterday. You think that 91 level is going to hold here today, Joel?
With the downgrade, I think so. Is there some size up there?
I see 50,000 shares, so
okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, it's not down much on the downgrade. What I noticed when I was doing my levels on the stock yesterday, if you were trading the range.com, you had a low that was 1 penny below the previous day's low, and then you had a high 1 cent above the high. So still using those parameters as you're trading today. 90 was resistance for quite a while, should be good support.
Couple of technical stocks just to get into. I know we're running short on time here, but you were saying that AT&T breaking out yesterday, big breakout day for it, took out the 37 level, didn't look back, closed strong, 37.24, is trading down a penny right now, 37 or just down a cent here, on very light volume of 28,000 shares, but it was a big breakout day for AT&T yesterday.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because I don't like when stocks break out to the upside when the market's going down. It just doesn't. It shouldn't happen, and it's hard to play it like that. But it was a dead defensive stock. Finally got through the 36.89 level. Got a nice pop. We'll use it 37.32 as resistance. I mean, it was the high from yesterday, so with this crazy old stodgy stock, you might get a little double top, a little pause in the action. But above that, I was looking higher up at the high that you had back in October. You have to go to the weekly in order to get that. You had a high at 37.69. Where did I see that number? The weekly, it says 37.88, but there was another high at 37.67. So those are a couple levels to keep an eye on the upside. And then come back on the downside. If you get some weak longs, they take it down to 37. Nice round number like that. You should find some minor support.
Let's just finish with the overall market here because we are running short on time. So we're up 6 points here on the E-mini. Back up near the highs. Joel's favorite chart, ES.
I know you did it.
You had to do it. You just had to throw it in there just for our listeners. They love to look at that chart. But 1562 here. What's the high of the move, Joel? What's 1565 around the button, eh?
Yep, exactly. Yep, Kevin nailed me. I'm gonna have to get him back.
He called the high of the move.
Yep, 1565. That's the high. We backed off a little bit in the pre-market. A lot of times, if you get there, if you get through that level 2, it gets a little bit stodgy, and I still think there can be some offers in there. Just on the downside, like I said, I don't see a whole lot of down until the close, 1556. So if you're playing, if you have the inclination to play this for the short side, you can perhaps use the 50% retracement on the day, which would be around the 58 level, as support ahead of the close.
That's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading day. Back with you tomorrow.